So it finishes at London Stadium. West Ham United won. Brighton Hove Albion won. They're our bogey team. There's no doubt about it. We've only won one game in the Premier League since they've come back into the top flight. It's a weird one. They just seem to have something over us. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter what form they're in. And let's be honest, they came into this on the back of quite a bad, demoralising defeat against their rivals. I can never work out how they're rivals. The M23 derby. What's that all about? But we'll talk about that. Listen, in case you're wondering who I am, my name's Gatesy. I inhabit another West Ham fan YouTube channel, which, if Gio and Gonzo are kind enough, they will put the description of my channel in the bottom. It's called the West Ham Massive. Pop over and give us a subscribe if you are at all interested. And if you're not interested, then maybe this is where you want to abort mission and disappear. Anyway, we'll move along. So that was real tough watch, I got to say. The first half, I think we just about shaded it, but it was two teams that were playing within themselves. It seemed to me like there were two teams that would have actually been quite happy with the point on the basis of the first half. It seemed very bitty, a bit of an arm wrestle. There wasn't really too much going on in the way of attacking endeavour. Probably our best chance in a funny sort of way. There was a few little sort of half chances, couple of saves that the goalkeepers had to make. I think that there was a chance right at sort of like within about the last 5 minutes of the interval where Paqueta had a shot. Oh my God. I mean, this guy's meant to be like a Brazilian playmaker, a Brazilian number 10 or whatever he is, playmaker, extraordinaire, big reputation. He's been poor this season. Absolutely. He has been poor this season. He is fast looking like the worst Brazilian since Chris McCausland shaved my wife's fanny. That's how bad we're talking. He's been awful, absolutely awful. He can count himself quite lucky that Carlos Soler was suspended for this game, because I think that if Carlos Soler had been available, I think it may well have been him that would have been dropped to the bench for this game. I think he probably needs to go onto the bench for the game against Southampton. But on Boxing Day, to be quite honest with you, I thought he was poor. I thought his compatriot Emerson wasn't significantly better as well. But I'll talk about that in due course. But yeah, he's and the other thing also is talking about sort of like the yellow cards and all the rest of it. The discipline, we're losing players to cheap yellow cards, and they're getting suspensions. I mean, and it all comes from the manager. You look, he was suspended for the game the other week. Was it the Bournemouth game, wasn't it? I think, if I remember rightly. Well, whatever. There was a game recently that Lopetegui was banished to the stands. Or was it Wolves? Whatever. I can't remember. But it all comes from the manager for me. The ill discipline. He's standing on the touchline, he's squawking away and getting cheap yellow cards and all the rest of it. That filters down to the players, and they feed off of that. Paqueta got his obligatory yellow card, didn't he? In what was it, the 17th minute or something like that? He didn't hang about. Fucking hell. Get into the second half. They did sort of like slightly move through the gears, Brighton. They started to really put us under pressure. We went 1-0 down, 51 minutes, so 6 minutes into the second half, we go a goal down. Now, Fabianski, I've got to say, he's played really well of late. He had a sensational game against Bournemouth, and he had actually, in the main, he had a good game against Brighton. Awful goalkeeping for the goal, though. He comes out and I don't know what he was doing. I don't know if he lost the flight of the ball in the lights or whatever. I'm not quite sure what happened, but a goalkeeper of his quality should be coming in. He should be doing an awful lot better than he did. He comes for the ball, he flaps at it, makes an absolute dog's dinner of what should have been a simple claim for him. And the ball drops to Wieffer, side foot, bang, 1-0. There was a bit of a hold up for a check for VAR, sort of in the background doing a check for, I think they thought that player might have been offside in the build-up. I think it was Lewis Dunk. It wasn't. So that was that. We get to about 6 minutes down the track, and there's a couple of substitutions that happen. Now, Niclas Fullkrug. Now, I don't know. I feel a little bit sorry for him. I mean, sort of like there's all these comments that have been attributed to him to say that he's having a bad time, this, that, and the other. I mean, to be fair, I mean, what do you expect him to say? He's having a bad time. He's had an injury and all the rest of it. Yes, I know he's injury prone. Have we overpaid for him? Yeah, we probably have. But it can't be very nice for him. He's in a foreign country. It's not been a great start to life as a West Ham player, but he got the start against Brighton. He didn't make the most of it, I'm afraid. He really didn't. He's probably the least welcome German addition to East London since the Luftwaffe, to be quite honest with you. But he got hooked, and within a minute of him getting hooked, it had an instant impact because Kudus, I thought, had been largely ineffective. I mean, it just seemed to me like his final ball, it wasn't quite up to the mark. I do wonder whether he's had his head turned and whether he knows that he's off down the Kermit and he's not going to be at West Ham for too much longer. But he's looked largely ineffective. But to be fair, he got the goal, obviously. But it was made by Jarrod Bowen's surging run. He made a sort of like a run into the sort of like towards the Brighton penalty box. Good shot, palmed away by Brugge. Again, poor goalkeeping for me. He pushes it out straight into the path of Mohammed Kudus, and he couldn't miss, really. I mean, you know, a player of his quality, he's got to score that, and he did. So made it 1-1. But to be fair, from that point on, especially for the last sort of 10, 15 minutes, I thought that Brighton were far, far better team. They had multiple opportunities. You know, Minte, I think it is the player, he came on as a sub. He had an opportunity, I think, towards the sort of back end of the game. Although VAR, just to sort of go back a bit, we said about VAR checked the goal that Brighton got. What the fuck was it doing on the 84th minute? Have you seen that challenge, Estupinian? If that's not a leg breaker, I don't know what is. Fucking hell. He's out of control. His studs are up. You know, he's got to go for that. I mean, I can understand the ref not seeing it. I can seriously understand, you know, where he is, the pace of the play, and players are in his way, and all those things. You can sort of go, okay, I can kind of forgive the on-field referee, but that's what VAR's there for, right? The VAR's surely there to intervene for that. Go back, if you haven't seen it, go back and have a. It's a fucking shocker. It's a leg breaker, mate. I'm telling you now. If that had been a if that had been Edson Alvarez against I don't know, Erling Haaland at the Etihad, something, you know, one of the top 6 teams, I'll guarantee that's a red card. Guarantee that is a red card. But because it's a West Ham player that's on the receiving end and it's Brighton, nobody really gives a fuck. Play on, move on. That's a shocker, mate. Absolute shocker. VAR. That's what it is there for. It's for the absolute howlers. It's fucked up there badly. But to be fair, like I say, last stages of the game, I mean, there was a couple of chances that Evan Ferguson had. I think it was Ayari as well in stoppage time. Wan-Bissaka made a great clearing header right in front of the West Ham goal. He was under pressure. I think it was Lamptey that was sort of putting him under the pump a little bit. Really good goal line clearance. And Wan-Bissaka had a fantastic game, I've got to say. Really was good. And to be honest with you, I think towards the end, I think you could probably say that we probably got away with it. Now, a couple of games ago, before the Wolves game, I turned around and said that for me, I think that Julen Lopetegui needed to get probably 7 points. Now, he didn't. He got 5 points, but I've reevaluated things. Now, let's look at it. We played a Wolves team who were at the time, and probably still are, scrapping for every point. We got the win against them. Okay, it was a little bit fortunate, but I think that, you know, it was a decent 3 points, and it could have gone either way, and we got the rub of the green there. Away to Bournemouth, listen, they're not a mug team. Look where they are in the Premier League. They're getting all sorts of plaudits, deservedly so. Okay, you might, again, turn around and say in the second half we were quite fortunate, same as here, that we probably got away with it. But, you know, you got to take luck when it comes your way. We got a point away, a very good point away at Bournemouth, and we've got a point again against a team that, like I say, by and large, we struggle against. So I'm going to take that. Now, we've got a Southampton game on Boxing Day, as I say. Now, that's must win, really, for me. because obviously after that we've got to play teams like Liverpool, we've got to play teams like Man City, and you're probably thinking that we're going to struggle there, but you don't know. I mean, Man City, the form that they're in, bloody hell, I don't know what's happened to them, but fuck them, I don't care. I'm a West Ham fan, so bollocks. But listen, I think we can take stock with, and for me, I do think that it does look to me like they're starting to get a little bit of more. We're looking more like a team. That's what I think. Unless it's come about basically since the Newcastle game is really. I mean, there's been a few little peaks and troughs, and like I say, we've rode our luck at certain times. But I think that by and large, I think that we're starting to look like the players on the pitch are starting to understand what the head coach Julen Lopetegui wants out of them. Is it the sort of football that possibly a lot of fans thought they were going to get in the aftermath of the David Moyes era, free-flowing, attacking, expansive football? Probably not. I kind of knew that this is what we were going to get with this manager. We were going to get more possession, but it wasn't necessarily going to be a gung-ho, front foot attacking sort of football. But to be honest with you, like I say, I'm willing to give the guy a little bit of leeway. I don't want to go sacking managers every 5 minutes, if I'm being completely honest with you. So I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater just yet. Let's give him a little bit more time. Obviously, he's been under the pump with obviously his family situation, and condolences to him for that. We've obviously had the situation with Mickey. We've had the situation with Oliver Fairs. I thought the tribute that the club paid before the game, obviously with the applause for the young lad in the under 15s, and may he rest in peace, and condolences to the family. The Brighton fans as well, got to give them their dues. They joined in. They gave him a good round of applause, the young lad, to pay him due respect and tribute. I just think that we're starting to look a little bit more like we're beginning to understand, we're beginning to calibrate, right? The players are beginning to align themselves with the Julen Lopetegui style of play. So I'd say, a couple of weeks ago, I was like, I think he needs to go. I've reevaluated now. I'm not for 1 minute saying he's Pep 2.0. Never did, to be perfectly honest with you. But I think that, like I say, let's just see how it goes. He's got the next couple of games for me. Let's reevaluate in a couple of weeks. Maybe sort of see how we go after the new year, and hope, like I say, because I'm looking at the Southampton game. That for me is pivotal. I think we've got to go there and get the 3 points, and nothing else will do for me. They're rock bottom. They're shit. They're gone. I'm sorry, Southampton fans, but you're fucked. You're seriously fucked. But listen, that's it from me. That's just my musings on the game. If you found this reasonably enjoyable, entertaining, God help you. Your standards are quite low, but whatever. Pop across to the West Ham Massive. Give us a subscribe. Don't forget to put a like on this video as well. And don't forget to subscribe to Hammers Chat. And just give it a little plug. Why not consider becoming a Patreon? I mean, it's dirt cheap. You get all sorts of fringe benefits. You've got all sorts of extra content. There's a really good bit of content on the Patreon. It's called Overland and Seaward, and there might be a couple of faces on it you might recognise. But all sorts of discounts on the Hammers Chat store. There's some really good things that you can get involved in. Like I say, it's dirt cheap. That will be in the link below as well from the boys. But anyway, I'm going to disappear, and we'll go on to the game against Southampton. Hopefully that will be our Christmas present. 3 points against the Saints. What's not to like? Come on, you Irons.